Good evening, we are Pablo Brizzete, Maria Boyano, and Adela Calvo, the Group 3 of International Economics, and today we are going to be presenting some topics of this subject. In concrete, we are going to be talking about a one-factor economy as well as about formulating the PPF curve. Also, we are going to explain the possibilities of production as well as the home indifference curve and the demand, together with the quantity demand in the home country, and finally we're going to explain the quantity demand and produce in the home country without the international trade. To explain our topics, we are going to suppose that we are facing an economy, which in this case is going to be called home, and in this economy we are going to find just one factor of production, that is going to be labor. This factor of production, labor, is going to produce two different goods, sunglasses and handbags. In this economy, also the supply of labor is going to be fixed in each country, and moreover there is going to be a fixed productivity of labor for each good that is going to be related to the technology of the country. In conclusion, we are going to have a perfect competition, which means that in the market the buyers and the sellers are so numerous and well informed that all elements of monopoly are absent, and the market price of a commodity is beyond the control of individual buyers and sellers. Continuing with our example of a one-factor economy in which we are producing sunglasses and handbags, we must bear in mind that the constant labor productivity is modeled by specifying unit labor requirement. The unit labor requirement is connected, as I have said before, with each country's technological level, and it is referring to the number of labor hours that are required to get one single unit of production of a good, which can be sunglasses or handbags. So basically the unit labor requirement for sunglasses is, let's imagine that it is 4. This means that we need 4 hours of labor to produce one single unit of this good, sunglasses. On the other hand, if we talk about handbags, let's imagine that the unit labor requirement for handbags is 3. This means that it takes 3 full hours of labor to produce one single unit of handbags. The total resources of this economy, as I have said before, the only factor of production that we are going to find is labor. So this L is going to refer to the total supply of labor that we have. So for example, if L is 160, this means that we only have 160 workers or 160 hours of work for the two goods. So these hours of work or these workers must be shared between the two goods for their production. Before continuing with our example of this one-factor economy in which we are producing sunglasses and handbags, we must take into account that in this case, the unit labor requirements are going to be the inverse of productivity. With this, I mean that the more sunglasses or the more handbags that a single worker can produce in an hour, the smaller the unit of work required. Because we must keep in mind that productivity, which is also known as the marginal product of labor, is the number of units that are produced by a unit of labor. Therefore, the higher the productivity is, the lower the unit labor requirements are, and vice versa.
Hi, I'm Pablo Brizzete, and I'll be continuing with the presentation. Now we advance to formulating the PPF curve, and I'm going to talk about first about the production possibilities. And well, the production possibilities, economies have their production limited due to their limited resources. That means that with the quantity of a product, in this case sunglasses, that is produced in relation with any sum of another product, in this case again handbags, and the other way around, we get the PPF or production possibility frontier. That is explained with the next equation, which is labor of handbags plus with the quantity of handbags plus the labor of sunglasses with the quantity of sunglasses gives us labor in total, which gives us the PPF. And of course we have the example, which is taking into account the previous example, quantity of handbags plus 2 times the quantity of sunglasses equals 120. Now continuing with the production possibilities, Well, first of all, in case the number of sunglasses produced is zero, the production of handbags will be equal to 120. But the marginal product of labor would be equal to 1. But in case the number of handbags produced is zero, the production of sunglasses will be also 120, but the marginal product of labor would be half of the previous result, which is 0.5. Now, continuing with the possibilities of production, on this slide we have a graphic, a figure, which explains the home's production possibility frontier. And as you can see, it tells us that the opportunity cost of handbags is also the absolute value of slope of the ppf, which is the quantity of sunglasses that has to be given up to get one more unit of handbags. And as you can see on the x-axis, we have home handbags production, which is the quantity of handbags in units. And on the y-axis, we have the home sunglasses production, which is the quantity of sunglasses in units.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the home indifference curve and the demand. So the indifference curve is a way to represent the customer's preferences in relation of two products. We're going to use cheese and wine. The level of utility is going to be the same on points that are placed on the same indifference curve, while points on higher indifference curves have more utility than the ones that are on a lower. Okay, so we're going to see here a graph. Here we have a graph in which we can see the quantity of wine and the quantity of cheese, and we have obtained A, B, C, and D points. So we're going to analyze each point and see why we can obtain that point or not. So points A and B lie on the same curve, therefore they have the same utility, utility 1, as we can see here on the blue graph. A is visible, but B is not, because B surpasses the home PPF, and it cannot be surpassed as we're working on a domestic level. We have no international trade. So then we have point C that represents a higher utility, but again, it's off the PPF, so it's not attainable here. And then point D is on the PPF, but it's on a lower level, so it has a lower utility than point A. Therefore, point A is the highest level of utility. It's visible because it's within the home PPF, and therefore it's the no trade equilibrium point. Okay, so with this data obtained, we can get some conclusions. We have chosen point A as the highest utility possible. So this economy will consist of 30 units to produce and consume of wine and 60 units to produce and consume of cheese. So considering that this economy is closed and the production and consumption has to match, and everything is produced and consumed on a domestic level.